Hello and welcome to another episode of the Obstacle Race Magazine podcast. We've got Kevin here again with us this week to obviously entertain us with his humour and wit. What episode are we on now, Kevin?
This is the first milestone. It's number 25, a quarter of a century. We've reached it. Without packing it in.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you'd have got bored by now, to be honest, Kev. Got fed up hearing me each week. But yeah, so we've got a few little bits and pieces of news this week. Nothing overly exciting, obviously. There's no events taking place. So, but before we get into that, I did sort of have a bit of a moment where I was daydreaming the other day, and I sort of thought, I wonder what other people do while they're listening to a podcast.
Like, I'm going to turn this X-rated, are you?
No, but I just sort of thought, I wonder what they do get up to, because I know that I listen to podcasts in the shower. I know that I listen to podcasts while I'm riding bike. And I just wonder what other weird and wonderful things people must be doing while they're listening to podcasts.
But I'll be honest, I listen to podcasts when I'm commuting to and from work. But now I'm working from home, I'm just finding it a real struggle. I had a little look earlier. I think I've got 37 podcasts backed up to listen to. And I must have deleted 30 as well. I'm sort of just listening to them quite ad hoc. I make sure I listen to ours every week because it's the best one on there.
Well, I used to hate listening to my hours at first, but then I sort of stuck with it and kept listening. So I sort of made myself, I suppose I became immune to my own voice, because I absolutely hate hearing my own voice anyway. I don't think anyone particularly, saying that, there are a few people who love the sound of their own voice, don't they? But I'm definitely not one.
Especially in the OCR scene.
Yeah, it's just, exactly.
You've got a good voice for a podcast. I've always said that. I've got the monotone. That's what I'm trying to change, like evolving from the first podcast. I'm trying to be less robotic.
Mine's camper than a row of tents. That's only trouble. Like, it's just, that's,
Bobo.
I just hate it. Yeah, well,
I'm the comedian here.
You're the straight man or the comedian. Which one?
I'm not the comedian.
You can't be both. So, anyway, news. Spartan Virtual this weekend. Congratulations to everybody who's taken part. I know Joe DeSena were really pushing it, weren't he, to try and make it like the world's biggest virtual. I think that's his next target, to try and keep himself occupied at the moment. Because obviously he seems to be under a bit of pressure at the moment, doesn't he?
Well, lots of people seem to have taken part. Been seeing loads of posts on social media, lots of photos. So hopefully it's been a success for him.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough weekend for weather-wise up this way. I don't know what it's been like near, like your way, Coventry way, Kev, but it's been like windy
overcast and sunny. It was windy yesterday morning, but the rest of it's been a bit overcast, bit of sun. Perfect.
Yeah, well, I've had to... So while we've been in sort of lockdown and all this jazz, I've actually took a bit of pride in back garden for a change. Instead of it looking like it don't belong to anybody, I've been putting a little bit of effort in. So day before, I had to actually scramble out onto the backyard protecting my new plants. The ones that I've like recently planted, new buds just coming up, blah, blah, blah. And wind were like battering them. So I had to protect them all. So I can understand now why...
I thought you meant you got some slugs out there or something and you'd gone to fight them off.
No, I know it's sad, but I can understand why gardeners get into it now. When you've actually planted something and grown it from like a seed, and then you've put weeks and weeks into it, and then wind comes along and tries to batter it, or like you say, a slug comes along and tries to eat it, you'd be kicking right off, wouldn't you? So, but yeah.
A green-fingered wibbly then.
Well, sort of, yeah. Boys are liking it. It's keeping them occupied. And then we should have some nice fruit and veg by the end of it. So that's all good. So big news for us as a sort of community and a business and what have you, the magazine and Mud 7, is we've obviously had to adapt and to our surroundings and whatever this week, haven't we, in terms of Mud 7? Do you want to say a bit more about that, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, obviously... We've been discussing it since the whole coronavirus thing kicked off, and we thought August was like 5 months away. What do you reckon? And we sort of live in hope, and we're always looking for the positive messages that are out in the media and sort of clinging on to those ones. You forget all the negatives and it's around for 5 years or we're never going to get rid of it. And you look for the ones that says it's going to be over by June, go over by July. But we still need to sell more tickets for the event, and if it does sort of subside by June, July, there's just not enough time for us to be able to confirm the ticket numbers, ordering medals, T-shirts, everything else that needs to go with it. So we took the decision to postpone it till the 26th of September. It looks quite congested now in September, October for events. So we made sure that we'd kept it on one where it was going to impact the least amount of people. So there's no Spartan, there's no Tough Mudders, no Nuclear, no Wolf Run on that weekend. Plus there's lots of 10k runs, like local 10ks and half marathons that have been put back as well. So looking at those local ones, it was just trying to find the best date for us. I know it does clash with a couple of events. And then we just want to say thank you to everybody who's come back to us. And one of the things we did ask was, if possible, not to give a refund, but to defer places to next year. Obviously, if as a last resort, we can give full refunds. But everyone's been superb. We've got a great community behind us. And so a lot of you have asked to come back next year instead because you just can't make that date on the 26th of September. So thank you again, and look forward to seeing you next year. Now we've just got to keep our fingers crossed that all the figures keep coming down. It looks more and more positive all the time. Plus there's more and more other European countries now who have got the numbers down so low that their lockdown has been eased a lot more than ours, and there's no sign, not even a little niggle of a sort of a second spike. So you'll all have your own opinions and beliefs on what the media are spinning to you, but everyone stay positive.
Yeah. Well, that's been our sort of mantra, hasn't it, throughout this? So it's just PMA. It's had to be PMA, hasn't it, really? Else it would have sent us crackers, because it's just put, obviously, a lot of pressure on us, hasn't it, in terms of a business or whatever. There's so many in exactly the same boat at the moment as well that would have been put under if it wasn't for the fact that the community had sort of stuck behind them and what have you, with the change of dates and
plus, I fully understand it might not be like a normal Mid-7. There's still going to be other measures that we're going to put in place, but we're only going to put the event on if it's safe to do so and if the government guidance allows us to. So we have got other dates earmarked to push it back a little bit further into the year, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because we want to deliver this event, as we said in all the messages that we put out. So anybody who's already signed up got sent an email. We put it on social media as well. This event is really important for the charities that we support. We helped raise over £75,000 for them last year. And this year, with the extra charities we've got on board, I was and still am confident that we can hit that £100,000 fundraising through the event. Because the amount of events that are already cancelled so far this year, Mud7 is even more important to these charities than ever before. So we really want it to go ahead. We know you want it to go ahead. So let's just all keep that PMA going and keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely. Because everyone's excited to get back out there, aren't they, now? I know I certainly am. I was sort of itching to get out at the beginning of the year. I've sort of tapered off a little bit, but I think it's good. It'll give everyone a focus back again, won't it? Which actually ties into something that we're going to speak about a little later on listener mail. Also, a little teaser. Although I did put something on social media the other day, we have been sort of plotting a little bit of a virtual event that we're going to put together. It's sort of real bare bones at the moment, but it should be something unique, and it'll give people a bit of merch that's unique merch, limited numbers. So it's quite small numbers. So you got to get in there quick once the gates open to get your ticket. Yeah.
Keep watching it'll be on the Obstacle Race Magazine community page on Facebook and on the normal Facebook page as well. Yeah,
definitely. Because I'm quite excited about that. It give people something to do, something for people to sort of sink their teeth into and have a.
Will it be up this week, do you think?
Hopefully. At the moment, we'll
have to keep going back and checking then, because you've got to be quick. You're gonna have to be very quick.
Exactly. We'll just have to. We're sort of waiting on design team at the moment, and so.
It's not going to be out this week then.
Yeah, so we'll have to give him a bit of a whip, and see if we can get him ready and raring to go. So yeah, virtual challenge. Look out for that one, because it will be good. But like Kev says, it will be real limited numbers. Now, so listener mail.
You've got mail.
We have been taking listener mail through email for like a good few episodes now, but I did ask if anyone was sort of brave enough to send in an audio message as a mail.
Who's got the minerals?
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually Paul Brenton. Now, for people who don't know Paul Brenton, you may be a little more aware of him if you've been around OCR for a little while. And he's basically the sort of person who runs the OCR World Championships wearing a T-Rex costume, or races off from the start line of a Spartan like elite heat.
This isn't me, by the way.
No, wearing a baby's nappy and like a bonnet and a giant dummy in his mouth just to sort of make all the other elites look daft. Is that sort of person. But then he has got an absolute heart of gold. He's a lovely bloke. Works hard, keeping our country safe as well. So I've even more kudos towards him. But anyway, so he sent in an audio mail, which I'll play now.
Good afternoon, legends. This is your audio question to you both from Spider, aka Paul Brenton. Before I start, I have to say, I have literally binge listened to all episodes. You are now officially my guilty pleasure. My question is, with the increase in virtual challenges such as Spartan, and with Joe Wicks energising the nation each weekday, and PTs taking the opportunity to use Zoom, WhatsApp video, Facebook Live to get to their clients, will this have an effect on gym paying memberships when people are getting potentially more fitter now than they did previously? And second, will us OCR runners, when we return back to races, find our running skill and standard has improved without putting in the necessary mileage we did previous? That is my question. Thanks for all you do, gents. Spider out.
And it's really good to actually hear someone else's voice. And it's probably a little bit of respite for people's ears to have someone else's voice on the podcast for a change.
So would you say Paul is one of the other people who likes the sound of his own voice, and I think that's why he sent it in?
He's very well. He's really well spoken, isn't he? He should be.
How many takes do you think that took?
Oh, I don't know. He'd make a good voice actor though, wouldn't he? He's done a good job of it, bless him. But anyway, cheers for Paul for listening in, even more so for binge listening and getting yourself back up to date. So, it's quite the two loaded questions that he's put to us, really, aren't they?
Again, it's down to personal opinions. I mean, the first question, it's great, all these extra things that have been going online, but I think this is helping the people who wouldn't usually be exercising, and he's getting them into it. So I think that the gym goers, they want to get back to their routine.
Yeah,
it's probably like more aerobic sort of stuff that you're seeing with the Joe Wicks and like cardio work. It's totally different to, I think, to like a gym goer. I don't know what you think, Carl.
I like Joe. He's been a bit of a saviour for us in our house because it's the one thing I can get the boys to actually focus on for longer than sort of 10 minutes without them just gravitating back towards their iPads all the time. And obviously, we've already discussed Spartan's virtuals, haven't we, and things, how they've been growing and how much good they've been doing, especially since they've done them for free. But in terms of gym memberships, I think it'll give people a better idea of what they're capable at home on their own without having to have someone sort of stood over them. But I'm the sort of person, I do actually like going to a gym because I like that a gym is sort of very focused, so you can go and you can do weights and you know what areas of your body maybe, or what sort of functional fitness you want to work on, what sort of movements. Or if you just want to go and you want to zone out and sit on an exercise bike, not everyone's got the money to be able to invest in a bike. So it's basically the rental fee of probably one of these expensive exercise bikes that you can get, like Peloton or whatever, and you can go to the gym and do it instead, can't you? And just zone out while watching, probably you'd be watching Coronation Street or something like that. But it's I like it for that reason. Yeah,
I think the thing that will affect these gym numbers the most will probably be the people who don't want to go in and sharing equipment so quickly.
Yeah,
I think that will be the thing that's might knock the numbers, but not because people are now used to training elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I've never been a gym goer. I went to CrossFit for a bit and absolutely loved that, but I didn't see that like a gym. That was totally different because you were sort of going in for a class, didn't know what you were going to do.
Get a bit of a
CrossFit, Kev.
surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a bit of a surprise every session, don't you? But I don't know. I think the majority of people are going to come out of this, especially the ones who were furloughed and what have you. They're either going to be much fitter or
Much fatter.
more. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's going to go one of two ways, though, isn't it? Like, I know I've struggled in terms of, like, slipping back into my bad ways again and things. And mine's, although I've stayed on quite an even level, I honestly think I've lost some of the muscle I was quite happily building in the gym and probably replaced it with some fat again, which I'm not really very happy about. But at least my weight stayed a similar sort of level.
Yeah, my weight's gone up. It's gone up to a level. I've tried to start running again, so I'm doing sort of 2 or 3 mile runs. So they're not far, but I'm doing them as regularly as I can, like 4 or 5 days a week. Trying to eat less and fewer snacks, but I've just sort of staying at that level. I'm getting obsessive now. I'm weighing myself every morning when I go downstairs. Down half pound, up half pound, go to the toilet, another pound gone.
Oh, God. I think when I focus... less said about that, the better. I think the more I focus on it, that's when I become quite obsessive with weight, when I know it's mainly fat that I'm shedding. But just before lockdown, I sort of got to the position where I was no longer really looking at the scales anymore because I knew I were at the stage where any little bits of fat that I was losing, I was sort of quickly replacing with muscle and what have you. So I weren't so reliant on it as an indicator. I'd more sort of started using like my belt or the way my clothes fit and things like that as more of a better idea.
They're now fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because, when I started this, so like last 6-week holidays, I were in, like anyone who knows Razor Storm clothes, they're nice and baggy anyway. And I were in like XXL or XXXL in their tops. And then now I'm in largers. So I know for a fact, in the same style tops as well, I know for a fact I've lost a hell of a lot of weight. But I've just got to make sure that I don't creep back into those bad habits again and just sort of... Just because the scales are telling me, oh, you're all right, don't worry about it, you're about the same weight. But yeah, it's probably not the case because I'm losing muscle at an alarming rate.
But the other thing I'd say on it is that I think that the OCR community aren't, in the whole, gym goers as much. They're more boot camp style sort of exercising and doing things themselves. They've got their own setups at home. Some of them will be going to the gym, but I see more of them as the outdoor types, and I think they'll continue the boot camps because they can distance nicely, and people like to have that whole community around the old like BMFs and there's Go Commando and all the other ones that are like that. So I think they'll stay as they are.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. But hopefully people do come out fitter. That would be obviously an amazing plus from all this.
I don't think they will. I think in the whole, it's more of a struggle. That goes on to Paul's second question, really. And
yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to touch too much.
Nice transition there.
Yeah.
So I think people will struggle because they're not just going running, but they're not sort of practicing or doing obstacle sort of things. Again, I've only been running. I've got a fitness tree in the garden, so I've been doing a few pull-ups here and there, but I can only knock out sort of 10 or 20 at a time now, and hey?
The only thing that fitness tree's been used for is a washing line for the last 5 years.
No, Kian can confirm. I've been out there. I was hanging upside down on it the other day as well.
So neighbours think you're crackers, then, basically.
But I think it'll take some time for people to get back into it. The guys who are out there, the elites, they'll be training, focused, doing their thing, and they'll sort of take it in their stride. But the rest of us, we're there for the fun anyway. So people will just get back into it as the events come along.
Yeah, I think with the people who back to people who are furloughed and stuff again, they've got a little bit more time to invest in different bits and pieces. And because at the start of lockdown, when restrictions were sort of tighter than what they are now they've been lifted a little bit. it will one run a day. And for most people, if they were starting again from scratch, it's not going to be a very long run. So then they need to fill that gap with something else, which is usually going to be functional fitness, isn't it? Now, for years, CrossFitters have been doing very small amounts of running, but basically building an engine through other sort of avenues and they're still able to go out and run a marathon. They've not done specific training for it, but it's not an incredible time, don't get me wrong, but they're still able to go out and run a marathon because the engine, like the cardiovascular health and whatever, the strength is there, the muscle endurance is there. So they build it in other ways, and I think that's might be what could happen. Even though people haven't been able to go out and do long runs, blah de blah, the ones who I've been seeing who've been focusing on their fitness have been doing functional fitness, so they have been able to do different bits and bobs. Although I think the main issue has been being able to get equipment. For people who are used to going to a gym and they've never had equipment at home because they've never needed it, it became like rare as gold, didn't it, for a while?
Yeah,
especially.
My parents are in step battles, so my mum used to pride herself in walking further than my dad. And she'd regularly, like 10,000 steps every day, whereas now he's sort of, because she's at home, they're both getting under each other's skin.
Yeah.
And he's knocking out sort of 15, 16, 17,000 steps every day just to beat her into the floor.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What, walking round block or just?
Yeah, just round the block, just walking anywhere, just to get back. And at the end of the day, we have a family sort of FaceTime call every single day around 6 o'clock with my sister as well. And then they like to boast on who's done the most steps. But my mum used to boast all the time that she had done more, whereas now she doesn't care as long as she's done her 10,000. But that's because she's getting beat. Same with Caroline. So my wife, I mean, she's racking the steps up now to the fridge and back, and then back to the fridge again. And so she doesn't listen. I'm safe.
Oh, I hope no one messages her and lets her know. But yeah, it is a weird one, isn't it? Like, I know I've definitely taken I've focused a little bit more, but mine's been through, I've basically got the road bike out of the garage again and got it all back ready, and so I can use the local trails and what have you and just go spinning on the bike for an hour or so.
Yeah, I'm enjoying running. It's off-road running that I'm doing. So it's only 2 or 3 miles, because that's at the moment, I'm starting from zero sort of fitness level. So I'm just trying to build myself up again. One of my friends, his brother-in-law is a professional footballer for Sunderland, and while they're off, they've got like this training plan they've got to keep doing all the time. And he's been doing it. He said he's never been so fit. He said, like, you should come out with a run with us. I said, like, you forget I'm in my late 30s now, and you're both in your sort of mid-20s, and they're running sort of 6 to 6.5 minute miles, just like 4, 5, 6 miles. I said, like, it's pointless. It'd be a great aspiration to go and run with you both, but forget it. I stick to my own pace.
I think those sort of people get to those sort of levels of fitness because it's just sheer over the top obsession, and
it's their job as well, though, isn't it? At the end of the day,
yeah. But they don't get there in first place, do they? Without being obsessed and without being like a cut above in terms of fitness and stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, because usually, like most professional football players or from any professional sport, they've done it from a very early age. So from like, you remember when you were at school, when you played rugby and PE, there's always those 2 or 3 kids that played for the local rugby teams, and you would always try and stay away from them when you got the ball, because they just come and pile drive you into the floor.
Yeah.
And they just grow up with that sport all the time, and it's the same with football. They've always seemed to have that extra sort of fitness just because they've carried on doing it all the way through.
Yeah.
To stand out from the rest, you've got to put yourself out there, haven't you?
Yeah. It would be good to see it. We should. It'd be good to film that though, Kev. Them putting you through like 2 or 3 kilometres of
professional
suffering.
footballer drill.
Yeah, just see what state you'd come back in. That would be.
Thank you very much, Paul. We need some more of these voice questions. We need to get some of these voice messages sent to Carl.
We do. We need a few more people who are brave enough. Definitely do.
There's plenty of them out there. Come on.
Well, no one's doing anything at the minute, are they? I know, obviously, key workers are still at work, so that's a bit of a blasé comment.
It takes 20 seconds to send you a voice message.
Exactly. And if you're as well-spoken as Paul, obviously you might pick up a bit of voice acting work as well.
Hopefully he's opened the floodgates now, and that's it. Everyone will come on.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's so easy to send one through. If you could send it by, like, we transfer to carl@obstacleracemagazine.com, or you can send it on WhatsApp if you like. Just record it on your iPhone or your phone and send it on WhatsApp to 07808 852 033.
That's my number.
Don't send me no weird stuff, though, because that's just, well,
that's what you want, really. Look at your face.
You might make my day, you know what I mean? But either way, it would be good to get a few more, because it works well. Obviously, a podcast, when we're reading out other people's letters, sometimes you don't get quite the same feel as what Paul's been able to put across in his.
No, because you don't do the same accent either, do you?
No, I can't speak like Paul can speak. He speaks beautifully. I'd swap him any day of the week. But yeah, so
any day at week.
Day at week, you off.
Day at week.
But no, we're good. I don't even know if we've really answered his questions, because it's so open ended.
We chatted for a few minutes. That's good enough.
Yeah, it filled the gap, didn't it? But yeah, thanks, Paul. I appreciate that.
What do others think as well? If others got their opinions on it, once you've listened to the podcast, stick them on Facebook, where Carl publishes the podcast links. Just put it in the comments there what you think. Let's hear your opinions.
Yeah, definitely. And before I forget as well, thank you everyone who's been listening so far as well, because we are now dangerously close to some pretty massive milestones. Now, I won't sort of release them just yet, but we've got some pretty big milestones coming up.
Huge!
That will that we never even thought possible, especially not within 25 episodes that we're on now.
5 months.
Yeah, exactly. We thought it would take probably
2 years.
Well, yeah, exactly. We were looking at what other podcasts had done, and it's took them a couple of years to get to 1/5 of the milestone that we're just about to hit. So anyway, it's good either way. No point bragging too much, is there?
There's always room for bragging.
Exactly, we're pretty proud of it. Hopefully everyone and
it's because of your fan base, really.
Yeah, it must be. All those people queuing at door, social distancing to bring me flowers and stuff. But no, it has been good. We do appreciate the support that everyone's been giving us, and the people who've still been listening even through lockdown. So I got a little bit worried first couple of weeks of lockdown, to be honest, because people stopped commuting, and all of a sudden the figures took a bit of a dive bomb. But then it's not really mattered, because they've caught back up now. I think people were just out of the routine, weren't they?
I think, like Paul said as well, sort of binge listen to them. Yeah,
exactly. So people, the same listeners who have been week in, week out listening, have definitely still been there. So it's been good. It's been really good, and thank you very much, obviously, for everyone who's been listening in. And if there is anyone who you know that likes OCR, we obviously would always appreciate you passing on the any recommendations that you can, because we've got loads of places now, especially if you click on the links that we share across social media, the link fire links. It gives you a rundown of pretty much the main places that you can listen to. I don't list them all. I think there's about 25 different directories that we're listed on now, but it does the main ones, including YouTube as well.
So even if through YouTube,
even if you're not used to listening to podcasts, so you haven't even got like a podcast app, or you haven't got a music streaming app like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can just easily listen through YouTube. Anyone can listen through YouTube. So YouTube. That's what I said, isn't it? YouTube. That's Sheffield version of YouTube. It's a little bit different. It's got mountains. But yeah, it's. So we do appreciate everyone for listening in, and we are committed to ensuring that we don't miss any now, because we've had a couple of weeks where it just kind of felt like we'd be putting out a podcast and there'd be no real focus to it. I think while our focus has been distracted as well, while we've not known what's going on, like around the time that we interviewed James Parrish, we were waiting for answers in terms of what plans old Boris
lockdown restrictions lifted, and what it meant.
And we thought maybe it'd be a little bit more in detail, didn't we? But
yeah, I think they've pretty much covered every single industry apart from the mass participation events industry.
Easy for you to say. But yeah, no, but it is though. They have, and it's a weird one. I suppose it's because there are so many scenarios that they just can't cover, that it's just going to be local authorities or whatever, and it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, I think, and ensuring that you've got proper practices in place and what have you. But yeah, no, it's so we were a little bit distracted with that, and it sort of knocked wind out of us sails a little bit. But we're back, we're ready.
Plus, a lot of the episodes are timeless as well, because they're sort of interviews. You can listen to them and learn about the different OCRs that are out there, learn about the race directors. So a lot of them, you can listen to them anytime, over and over again.
All the race director interviews that we've done so far, and different people from within OCR have all been like, we've been cherry picking so far, haven't we? In terms of ensuring, while we were finding our feet, that they were the best they could possibly be in terms of interesting, really.
Yeah, plus we've got some more great guests lined up as well.
Yeah. It's the only things that sort of slowed us down is we have to be a little bit more careful about sending out equipment and what have you to different guests. So, but no, as restrictions are lifted a little bit more, it makes it a little bit easier for us, doesn't it? So, no, I do appreciate it. And if you're listening for the first time, don't forget to
listen together for 24 episodes.
Yeah, catch up, obviously, but also click subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to, because it does make a big difference. And especially if you do enjoy what you've heard on this episode or the other episodes that you've listened to so far, pop in us a little review, especially on Apple Podcasts or anywhere like that. Banging a little review under there for us would be hugely appreciated as well. So I think that's all I've got, Kevin. Yeah, that's all I've got on my list. Anything from you?
No, that was good. Half an hour.
Exactly.
10 minutes Tuesday that's long gone now.
That was so last year, weren't it? So
no, that was so January.
But no, it's hopefully people. So hopefully people are happy to hear us again anyway. And
enjoyed having the catch up.
Yeah, it's been good. Cheers, Kev, and
Thank you
we'll
very much.
speak again soon.
Laters.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.